Can Dana White create superstar boxers? Is this what's going to happen? Now he's going to get more involved in boxing. Well, this is what he's kind of suggesting. He's done it in the UFC Contender Series, and I think he wants to do the same kind of thing in boxing. Now, I was listening to an interview with Dana White the other day before the Canelo Crawford fight, right? And he was talking about this very thing and talking about, the issues with boxing and creating household names and superstars that you can latch onto and go along with the ride and see how they develop. And do you know what? I found myself completely agreeing with him in that there is that in boxing, but it's kind of hit and miss. And I look around the boxing landscape right now, and I kind of look at boxing as a whole, and I look about how it crosses over to other audiences, other sporting audiences. Does it attract sports fans? Does it attract mainstream media? And it's only one or two boxers here and there that actually does. Most of the boxers don't. Most people don't, unless you're a boxing fan, of course. But most people couldn't really name 5 boxers. Current boxers, they might know historically, the Mike Tysons, Muhammad Ali's, that kind of thing. But in terms of current boxers, they probably go, in the UK, they might say Anthony Joshua, they might say Tyson Fury, but that's about it. Possibly one or two others, maybe. The Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., that crossover quite a bit. But if you talk about the United States, where they've got a big problem with their boxing crossing over into mainstream sporting headlines, let's say, the broadcasters have dropped boxing completely. Top Rank just shared Inui's fight against that Medvedev in Japan on Sunday afternoon here, but Sunday night in Japan and probably Sunday morning in the United States. They live streamed it on Facebook for free. So that just goes to show what a poor setup they've got in the United States, and they haven't got names out there. They haven't got people that you want to cheer on, boxers that you want to cheer on. So maybe, hey, Dana White might have a real point here. Boxing is broken. Yes, from one angle, one perspective, you could definitely say it. Now, I've always said right from the very word go in terms of this current way we're looking at boxing, especially since the Saudis came in. The only reason that boxing has suddenly got a massive lift now, that, it's a great sport again, is because the Saudis have been funding it. The likes of Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren say, it's never been in a better place. It's never been in a better place because you're earning top dollar from the Saudis who are funding it all in. And that's it. Otherwise, boxing wouldn't really be making many gains. And the problem is it lost its way. It lost its way in terms of that crossover appeal. It lost its way in generating fighters who understood it's about entertainment, understood it's about the show, and understood it's about reaching out to audiences. Now, this is not all boxers. Some do it really well. Some in not a great way, but they still reached out. So you can take polar opposites in terms of the way they achieved that. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, for example, did it in totally different ways, but they both crossed over. Muhammad Ali in the past, Mike Tyson, just the way he crossed over in terms of just his presence, the way he was, the way he fought, crossed over. It became a household name, a household sporting name because people were talking about him. And you look at it now and you kind of think, yeah. So I get it with Dana White. I get it. I get what he's trying to say. They can change the landscape of boxing, and it won't be an immediate thing. This is going to be a gradual process of getting fighters in boxing cards and building up Contender Series, and they're going to be announcing a TV association deal soon, whether that's with Netflix, whether that's he's already with UFC, gone over to Paramount. No pay-per-views anymore over there. It's just a massive pay deal that they've got there. I think it's 1.5 billion or something that they got from Paramount, whatever it is. advertising. It's all going to come down to advertising sales, right? And eyes on. That's what's going to be there. And if he can do something like that with boxing, and then you kind of think, well, is pay-per-view dead? Is the model that he's going to go for? It's going to be something like it's just going to be a huge TV deal, broadcast deal. Is it going to be a Netflix? Can you gather some excitement here? Can you gather a following? Can you get new names on there? And I think he can. It'd be a very interesting thing. We talked about Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh creating this boxing league. This is what Turki Al-Sheikh has wanted. And maybe this is, what we're really talking about here. Just creating something from the ground up, and you're taken along for the ride. I'll be really interested to see what happens with Dana White. Can he and Turki Al-Sheikh create superstar boxers? And will these be crossover fighters? Will they go into the mainstream? And will they have media training, let's say, it brings them, and that boxers that want to fight and that want to get in there. And I think we're going to see a changing here of attitudes, not only of boxers, but also of the audience that goes to see them. That, you're going in to see almost, as it's no surprise, he wants to create boxing in a kind of UFC model, in terms of very quick, get the fighters in. You want to fight, you've got to fight. It's that kind of thing. And I think this is the way forward. This is the way forward. Now I look at boxing cards, and I've been talking about it in previous videos recently, that apart from headline fights recently, I've been starting to get a bit disappointed with the fight cards, and especially the undercards. Saudi started off so well, started off so great, and then all of a sudden it's kind of gone off. Now I know we've had the summer, and it always peters off in the summer and it comes back up into the winter. But you're kind of looking at the autumn shows right now, and you're waiting for Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn to announce, any big shows that are coming on. You're waiting for Turki Al-Sheikh to come on. It's almost like 2024, we had a bumpy year. 2025, it hasn't really been a bumpy year in terms of overall shows. We've had some great fights, don't get me wrong. And obviously the weekend, Canelo Crawford, great fight. Crocker Donovan, great. Anui Akhmadaliev, great fight. Oh, all on one weekend though. Probably just spread it out a bit, Probably just spread it out. That probably would have been better. But now we got to look. Now it's middle of September. Just had the Canelo Crawford fight, obviously just last weekend. I'm looking at the schedule here, and there aren't many. There's some decent fight cards, don't get me wrong, before everybody jumps in here. There's some decent fight cards coming up. But unless you're a boxing fan, a real boxing fan who's kind of studied it and knows the names, and even if you have some of these names, you're kind of going, you sure? But you've got to go to 11th of October for Ennis against Lima for the next real big fight. On the same night, you've got Allen against Makhmudov here in the UK. That's it. You've got nothing more. And I suppose this is the problem, isn't it? That United States isn't delivering fight cards. It isn't delivering fight cards because they're not selling. They're not doing anything. They're not selling. And it's kind of completely stagnated in the United States. And a lot of this is of their own making. Boxers, boxing promoters, they're the ones who have created this, in my opinion, by not fighting, by not being overly eager to get in the ring and have fights. And, they're all trying to go for the biggest payday. I get it. And what that does is that stops them from fighting. And the legacy of this Saudi money and Turki Al-Sheikh is that they've continued to do that because all they want to do is fight for the super, super big purses as opposed to just getting in there and fighting. An inactive fighter is the worst thing that you can ever do. You cannot be inactive. You've got to be active. You can't be just doing, one fight every 2 years or even just one fight a year. I know some can get away with it, but most can't. You need to get in there a couple of times a year, minimum 3 times if you can. That's optimum. And if you're an up-and-coming fighter, you need to get in there as many as you can, especially if you're not taking punishment. Get out there 3 or 4 times a year. That's the thing, So it needs. I've been thinking about this for a while recently, whether boxing does need saving. And in some respects, the system needs saving from itself. And when you start talking about that, when you start throwing darts at the boxing system, you always get people coming out and saying, no, there's nothing wrong with it, it's not broken and everything like that. It's not broken when it's working well. It's not broken when we get these great fights. But we're in real danger of getting to that situation where we're not going to get these great fights anymore, or certainly we're not any regularity. Let's think about the product, the boxing product. Let's compare it to major other sports, right? In English Premier League, right? NFL, NBA, whatever F1. F1 is on a major rise right now. You're creating stars, you're creating stories, you're creating situations and scenarios on a weekly basis, on a 2 weekly basis, that everybody can get into it. And it's that continuity of drama, that continuity of just, oh, here's the next big race, here's the next big match, here's the next big fight, here's the next big name. Oh, look who's also fighting on that undercard. Wow, that's amazing. That's how you generate story. That's how you generate excitement for a sport. And at one stage, I thought we were getting it. And we were going to be getting this kind of thing. And we were kind of promised this, perhaps. I don't know, maybe I misinterpreted it, from the Turki Al-Sheikh and Saudis and even Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. Yeah, we're going to be getting all these fights now. And it's just like, it hasn't quite happened. So I'm very interested to see what Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh can do together. And will this take 2 or 3 years to come on? And will we see this kind of natural progression of getting regular great fights, regular great fight cards, and things that you're really interested in, even just from an entertainment point of view, even from a general crossover sport point of view? Does it bring in more eyes to the sport? And fundamentally, does the American market recover with this new model that they want to introduce? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, keep on watching the video. Say, listen, can Dana White save boxing? I just don't know. But something needs to change if we get away from these Riyadh season fight cards, which I'm really looking forward to, don't get me wrong, but we want more. We want more on a regular basis. And can he bring that? I certainly hope so. Catch you again. Bye now.